Welcome to another International Cooking with Chef Roger. Today our travels take you to the exciting place of Spain. Oh, when we think of Spain, we think of the bullfights, we think of the matadors, flamenco guitar players, and we think of the ladies with their castanets. Today we're going to talk about food. Now when you walk down the streets of Madrid, what you notice on the tables, first thing you notice is a great big pitcher of sangria. Oh, sangria is red wine and brandy and fruits. But the other dish they have is paella, and that's what we're going to make today, is paella. Paella is a rice dish. Traditionally, meat and vegetables. The meat is usually sausage and chicken. Although it's interesting, the very first paellas, they were farmers, and they used rabbits and snails. Not so popular now. And then they used the seafood that was available. What I'm trying to do with these videos, especially paella, is to get you to just stretch yourself a little bit. A little recipe, it might seem intimidating and something you'd never try on your own. I'm going to encourage you to give this a try, because when you see we just do it step by step, it really isn't as intimidating as you might think it is. All right, for anything that we always start, I have all my most big ingredients laid out here for paella. Now, the first thing we're going to do is to fix our tomato. Now, as you can see, I have a whole tomato here, and I'm going to cut it in half. Now, use one of these larger tomatoes. Don't use one of those small Roma tomatoes. They don't work as well. And so what we're going to do, the theory we're going to do, is that we're just going to grate this. It's going to make it a lot easier than it would be if you had to dice it. So I'm just going to grate it. Just go back and forth like that. And the idea is that we're just trying to get all the pulp out without, and then we'll just leave the skin. And then what we'll do is that when we've got this pulp, then we will just put that pulp in our paella. Now, the next thing we need to do is the shrimp. And you can buy shrimp. They're basically already shelled, so all you have to do is the shell just pops right off. But if not, then you're going to have to take a little knife and just sort of cut it in the back. And then you'll see a black little, called a vein, and you just take that out. Now, it's so small when you cook it, it wouldn't hurt it anyway. But that's just a good way to do it. And then when you get all your shrimp finished, then you'll be ready to go. But interesting thing about shrimp in Spain. If you would eat paella in Spain, what you would notice is that the shrimp, the shell is on, and also the heads. Now they're pretty ugly looking, but what they do is that they infuse the taste into the rice. So that's why they do that. But I guarantee if we did that at home, that your guests would probably freak out. Now, the next thing we're going to do is make our sausage. What we're going to do is we're going to boil the sausage before we brown it. And the reason I want to boil it is just to harden it up a little bit so it makes it easy to slice. If I just tried to slice this now, then believe me, we'd have a great big mess. One thing I need to do is just to prick a few holes in this thing. As we know, as your cardiologist will tell you, that these sausages have a lot of fat in them. And as you heat this up, this fat is going to expand. Now, if we didn't have these holes in them, then actually the whole thing could actually blow up on us. So I hate that when fat blows up on you. So I'm just going to drop this sausage in here and this one in here. And we'll let that simmer 3 to 5 minutes. We'll check it after 3 minutes. In about 4 minutes. And so now we'll take these out and we're going to let them drain. And eventually what I'm going to do is slice them up and then we will brown them. But the next thing we're going to do is brown the chicken. All right, to brown the chicken, I'm just going to coat, and if you're using, I'd say this looks like it's going to be about 2 teaspoons full of olive oil. I like to use olive oil, it's got a good taste. And then what we'll do is just a little bit of butter. And like I said, the reason I like the butter is because as the butter melts, you get these little bubbles. And then when the bubbles stop, then I know the pan is the right temperature. And that is just a good hint, even if you're just using plain butter without any oil in it, that when you see the bubbles, and then the bubbles pop, and when the bubbles pop, you know it's time to add your meat. Now, I've got some boneless chicken thighs here, and what I've done is I made sure that I dried them. Okay, it's very, very important whether it's chicken or whether it's beef, pork, or lamb, it has to be dry. Because if it's liquid, then the water comes in and all of a sudden it starts steaming. But that's not what you want. You want to get this nice and brown. And it looks like my bubbles are about ready. So I'm just going to, now all I'm going to do is brown these. Okay, because what's going to happen in the paella, this is going to end up being in the oven for about 30 minutes. So we don't want to cremate this poor chicken. He didn't do anything to me. So we just want to get enough here to brown it. And again, there's no way is it going to be done. So we just want to brown it because then we'll finish cooking it in the oven. So it's going to go it's not going to take us very long. We'll cut these into bite-sized chunks. There, see how that works there. That's about the right, whatever size that is, that's perfect. I'm just going to slice them up. Like I say, one of these is a bratwurst and one's Italian sausage. Like usually they use a chorizo andouille, and if you like it, if you like it a little warm or a little hot, spicy, and now we'll just, again, same thing, we're just going to brown these. We're not going to cook them too much, just intensify. And you do this on a fairly high heat, all right, because you're not going to cook this very long. We hope our smoke detector doesn't go off, so if you hear that noise, don't panic, it's just a smoke detector. I think it should be all right. Again, we're just going to brown these just that's pretty good. That's all we wanted. It's a little hot. We'll just remove these. Our next step is to make the sofrito. Now the sofrito is sort of the basis of a lot of Spanish cooking. It's almost the equivalent of like in Cajun cooking, they use the Trinity. That's a green bell pepper and onions and celery. All right, and this is the same thing except here in this pan, and I'll talk about this pan here in a minute. But for right now, a quarter cup of olive oil. And then I have 1 diced red pepper. I have about half of an onion diced. And I have about 4 cloves of garlic. It's interesting how you can smell that garlic even though it's not been cooked yet. And then we've got our tomato. All right. Now what we're going to do now is that we're going to just cook this until basically there's most of the liquid is gone. And we'll get this on medium heat. And this is going to take a while. All right, what you see here is a paella pan. Now paella pans are generally this shape, but the home cooks are about 14 inches across. Now, in a restaurant, they can go up to 36 inches across. Then when you see these pictures of them at a celebration where they're cooking for 35, 40, 50 people, I've seen the paella pan that's about 4 feet across. Now, if you don't have a paella pan, you could use it. If you have a large electric fry pan, you could use this. A cast iron pan would work well. Let's see, if you had a old-fashioned deep dish Chicago pizza pan, that would work pretty well. This is on medium-high heat, and we're just going to break it down until most of the liquid has evaporated. We still have a little liquid left, so it's going to still be another couple, 2 or 3 minutes. So it's now 40 minutes before you want to eat. So now you have the sofrito. To the sofrito, you add 1.5 cups of rice. Now, the general rule is you use twice as much water as you do the rice. So if I have 1.5 cups of rice, and for those of you that have had calculus and beyond, 2 times 1.5 is going to be about 3 cups of water. Now, remember, this is just guideline. So if you want to make a larger family, and if you want to make twice as much, then you just double all the recipes. This is set up to serve 4, is the way I have for the recipe. Okay, now again, we talked about adding sausage, and we talked about adding chicken. That's the basis. But for the seafood, you could add, in Spain, a lot of people add squid. You could also add a very firm fish like a swordfish or halibut, and you could add clams, mussels. So basically just let your imagination. All right, now I have some saffron that I've grounded up. Now if you don't have saffron, then turmeric would work just fine. Okay, and I'll start off adding just a little bit of salt to taste, and then we'll check that out. Okay, so I've got my 1.5 cups of rice, and we'll just stir this around just a little bit, just to stir it. Okay, and now the next thing we're going to do is add 3 cups of boiling water. Okay. There's 1. There's 2. And this is just about be it. There's right to the top. Okay, that's 3 cups of boiling water. Now, I'm just going to stir this. Stir it around, and until it starts boiling again. So since we have the boiling water in there, it's really not going to take very long at all. Just stir this very gently. just about starting to boil. What I'm going to do this time is that I'm going to check for taste. Not burning myself. That's pretty good. Oh, that's going to be good. All right. Okay. Looks like it's starting to boil away. So the next thing you do is you just arrange your chicken. No specific way to do this. Put the chicken around. Add the chicken. Okay, then we spread out the sausage. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to bake this in a 450 oven for 15 minutes. And then after 15 minutes, we're going to add our seafood. Now, if you added the seafood now, because it takes the rice about 30 minutes to cook, but if you added the seafood now, then it'd be way overcooked. So that's why we're only going to cook this for 15 minutes at 400 degrees. Okay, now the toughest part is getting this to the oven without spilling and making a mess. That's probably that'll be my biggest challenge. Now we put this in the oven on the lower rack. Hands of a surgeon, look at that, haven't spilled a molecule. Not one atom. And we just put it there gently. And again, it's on the bottom rack. And slowly, oh, perfect. All right, we'll set the timer for 15 minutes. See you in 15 minutes. It's been 15 minutes, so we'll take a look. Oh, this is hot. So there's still plenty of liquid in there. So now what we'll do is that we'll add the shrimp. And you gotta be very careful this doesn't fall off. These are pushing down. And now these are mussels. I know it's hard to see. And just spread them all around. Now, if you want to impress your rich relatives or your poor relatives, you could add some lobster tail. And that's in some of the, we'll just spread these around here. Again, these are just mussels. And that looks like that's about, now have lots of good mussels here. Spread them all around. Okay, now we'll put this back. Oh, I forgot the peas. And just spread the peas all around. Here's peas. You notice the perfect pattern I'm arranging these peas. Each one's 0.125 millimeters from each one of the others. We practice safe here. And then we have some tiny little pretty lemon decorations. We'll put those around. And there you have it. All right. Now we'll cook this, bake this another 15 minutes. That is looking good. Timer. Okay, it's been 30 minutes. I mean 15 more for a total of 30. All right, so take it out. Oh, good, nothing good. Look at that. Okay, now what we gotta do is let this rest for about 6 to 8 minutes to let everything set. So we'll take a look at it in about 7 minutes. It's been 7 minutes. Let's take a look. Oh, look at that. Wow. I see the shrimp, the mussels, the chicken, the sausage, the peas. Oh, that smell. This is really going to be good. So I really urge you to try to make this. I know it's got a lot of ingredients. It might seem overwhelming, but you can see if you just do it step by step, it really isn't that difficult. So this would be a really great family meal. It'd be a really great company meal. Give it a try. And thank you for watching this video. And hey, share it with your friends. See you later.